House Celtigar of Claw Isle rules Claw Isle, an island in the narrow sea off the coast of Crackclaw Point. The Celtigars, before the conquest of Aegon Targaryen, were sworn to the Lords of House Targaryen of Dragonstone. However, once Aegon did become High King of Westeros, Claw Isle became part of the newly formed Crownlands, with House Celtigar swearing loyalty to House Targaryen directly, albeit at House Targaryen's new primary seat on the mainland. The arms depict red crabs strewn on white, with the words currently not appearing in any published source material. House Celtigar is an ancient and proud house, with the blood of old Valyria running through its veins, being one of the 3 Valyrian families of Blackwater Bay to escape the doom, having relocated to the area prior to the fiery end of the Valyrian freehold. Given House Targaryen were dragon lords, and House Valyrian controlled the trade in and out of Blackwater Bay with their vast fleets, House Celtigar is often the more overlooked of the 3 Valyrian families of Blackwater Bay. Lord Crispian Celtigar is the first notable Celtigar in the history books. He was one of the very first lords to join Aegon the Conqueror before he set sail for Westeros, with House Celtigar playing a key role during the early conquest when establishing Aegon's foothold in the mainland. He served as Master of Coin to Aegon the Conqueror after Aegon was crowned king of all of Westeros, establishing the first proto-small council, in which Crispin was named the Master of Coin. In that office, he advised Aegon on matters relating to taxation, debt, and income, and helped develop the infant town of King's Landing into the sprawling city it has become by the main book series. During this time, the Celtigars claimed dominion over Crackclaw Point as a whole, but the inhabitants did not acknowledge their claim. When the petty lords of Crackclaw Point surrendered peacefully to Queen Visenya Targaryen during Aegon's conquest, the people of Crackclaw were officially freed from pledging fealty to anyone but the Iron Throne. The Celtigars occasionally sent men there to collect taxes. It is said that if Lord Celtigar sent enough collectors, a few might come back to him. Lord Edwell Celtigar was named Hand of the King by Maegor I Targaryen, Maegor the Cruel, in 44 AC. Following the execution of the previous hand, Lord Lucas Harroway, when Maegor himself left to embark on a new campaign against the Faith Militant Uprising in 45 AC. King Maegor left Edwell to rule King's Landing along with one of Maegor's wives, Queen Tiana of the Tower. In 47 AC, Edwell suggested to the currently heirless Maegor the king should take more than one new wife, so as to increase his chances of producing an heir. Edwell suggested his 2 maiden daughters, Prunella and Prudence, who were 12 and 13 years of age. Although Maegor eventually did take Edwell's advice, he did not choose Edwell's daughters. Lord Celtigar resigned his office of hand in 48 AC, when the previously loyal lords of Maegor were now turning against the king. He safely returned to Claw Isle. Upon the ascension of King Jaehaerys I Targaryen to the Iron Throne, Lord Celtigar was pardoned for his role in Maegor's rule, and named Lord Treasurer and Master of Coin by Rhaegar Baratheon, the new Hand of the King, due to the fact that Jaehaerys was still in his minority. Rhaegar wielded much power until the king could come of age. The wars fought by Maegor had nearly bankrupted the crown. Lord Celtigar was unwilling to risk offending the High Lords, so he instead enforced a number of new taxes upon the small folk, such as tripling the port fees of King's Landing, Lannisport, and Old Town. Certain goods were taxed both coming in and going out of the city, and new levies were asked of innkeepers and builders. These measures made Edwell deeply despised by the populace and failed to generate the sufficient income and revenue the crown needed. Building slowed to a halt, the inns emptied, and trade declined significantly in the capital and across Westeros, while the Lannisters and Hightowers ignored Lord Celtigar's demand to raise their port fees. The effect in other cities was not as pronounced as King's Landing. Upon King Jaehaerys' 16th name day, where he came of age, he returned to King's Landing and kindly dismissed Lord Edwell from his office along with much of the small council. Ultimately, he thanked Edwell for his service, following which he returned to Claw Isle. 3 days later, the king began to undo most of the taxes Edwell had placed on the small folk, much to the populace's delight. Due to the winter of 59 AC, when the shivers spread throughout the Crownlands, causing death across the land, Lord Edwell was one of the first High Lords to die from the disease. Several men from House Celtigar served as Master of Coin throughout Targaryen history, but by far one of the most interesting occurred during the Targaryen civil war known as the Dance of the Dragons, in which House Celtigar sided with Queen Rhaenyra Targaryen and her Black faction. As a result, Lord Bartimus Celtigar sat on the Black Council as Master of Coin, despite the fact that King Viserys I Targaryen had left the treasuries and vaults of King's Landing full of gold upon his death. The treasury was completely empty by the time Rhaenyra took the capital, for King Aegon II and his Greens sent 3/4 of the gold away for safekeeping and spent the rest prior to the fall of the capital. Rhaenyra found herself in desperate need of coin, and to rectify this, Lord Bartimus put in place the ruinous taxes his ancestor Lord Edwell Celtigar once enacted during the regency period of King Jaehaerys. Although Bartimus went a step further, taxes on wine and ale were doubled, port fees tripled. Every shopkeeper was assessed a fee to keep his doors open. Innkeepers were required to pay a silver stag for each bed within their premises. The entry and exit fees, once put on the city gates by Rhaego Draz, the Lord of Air, again during the reign of Jaehaerys, were brought back, but at triple the cost. A property tax was put in place that the small folk and wealthy alike were obliged to pay, depending on how much space they took up. Bartimus even made executions a source of coin by having them take place in the Dragon Pit and charging those wishing to see the spectacle 3 pennies. Merchants and traders who couldn't pay had their property, ships, or cargo seized. Though these ruinous taxes did replenish Queen Rhaenyra's coffers, they quickly made the Queen and Lord Bartimus despised by the populace and even some lords. After the treason of Tumbleton by the 2 betrayers, Off-White and Hardhue Hammer, Bartimus urged Rhaenyra to arrest the other 2 base-born dragon riders, Sir Adam Valyrian and Nettles. He later argued for a tax to be placed for any child born out of wedlock, which would help fill the royal coffers further and would discourage more bastards from being born. When riots later broke out in King's Landing, Lord Bartimus's manse was overrun by a mob. His servants turned on him or fled, and his kinsman, Arthur, was cut down. Bartimus himself was bound to a post and tortured until he revealed the location of his wealth. Then a tanner named Wat declared to Bartimus that he hadn't paid the cock tax, and thus his manhood was forfeit. Wat the tanner later rode through the streets upon a stolen horse, displaying Lord Bartimus's severed head and genitals to the crowd, and declaring an end to all taxes. By the time of the main books, the Celtigars' castle on Claw Isle is rumoured to hold fabulous treasures that bear witness to their wealth. Among Lord Adrian Celtigar's property are Mirish carpets, Volantine glass, gold and silver plate, jewelled cups, magnificent hawks, a trained sea eagle, an axe made of Valyrian steel, chests of rubies, a horn said to summon krakens from under the sea, and many fine wines from across the world. During the War of 5 Kings, Lord Adrian Celtigar answered Stannis Baratheon's summons when he crowned himself king and calls his banners. Stannis comments to Sir Davos Seaworth his disgust about having to sup with his lords, among them Adrian, who keeps asking which Stormlords will join Stannis. Lord Celtigar's contribution to Stannis' war fleet is the singular ornate ship Redclaw. Lord Adrian takes part in the Battle of the Blackwater and is made a prisoner after Stannis' defeat, bending the knee to King Joffrey I Baratheon. He remains at King's Landing afterwards. Later, Sir Axel Florent suggests that Stannis sack Claw Isle as a reprisal for Celtigar's surrender, but Davos convinces him otherwise, and is named Hand of the King by Stannis for his honest counsel. Lord Celtigar declares at Tyrion Lannister's trial for the death of King Joffrey that he overheard Tyrion threaten the king. It is not yet known what kind of role House Celtigar could play in the Winds of Winter, but there is some speculation they might possibly support Jon Connington's attempt to place the apparent Aegon Targaryen, the speculated dead son of Rhaegar Targaryen, on the Iron Throne, given their historical close ties with House Targaryen. But until we see the Winds of Winter, that is all we currently know of House Celtigar.